Can be difficult to learn some new software, especially when I've become very familiar with the the package that I've been using, and the reason I'm familiar with that is because I get access to it free via work. Now, that's not necessarily always a reason to use something personally, but well, occasionally it's the best solution in both situations. For me, that's been Adobe Premiere. Now, there's been a lot of conversation around Premiere's or Adobe's interesting pricing model and what they're doing with basically pricing themselves out of the market at this point with monthly subscriptions for the Adobe suite significantly increasing. So if I wanted to carry on using that personally and I didn't have my current role, it would be prohibitively expensive should I have to pay for it out of my own pocket. Now, the issue that I'm facing is DaVinci 20, or whatever it's called, DaVinci Resolve Studio version 20. Up until now, didn't really have a place in my workflow. Yes, we use Blackmagic cameras at work, and we do have a DaVinci Studio license, so we can use that should we want. But personally, I shied away from it because it didn't fit end to end in my workflow for my hobby stuff for doing this kind of thing. Not that I edit these videos, but certainly for the hobby videos that I do edit, it didn't fit into that workflow. However, version 20 has made significant changes. Now, for those of you who don't know, DaVinci Studio is used quite extensively in film production now. There's three or four really big packages, and Premiere and DaVinci were probably the two biggest ones. Final Cut as well, but I don't use that. Now, I'm seriously considering making the jump to DaVinci. And I was chatting with a friend about this. They asked me a couple of weeks ago, I think, in one of the comments, what I felt about it. And well, DaVinci is also changing their pricing model. Or Blackmagic, the company that owns DaVinci, is changing their pricing model so that rather than it being a license in perpetuity, so you get all of the updates whenever they come out, they're going to do it on a version by version increment system. So I think it's going to be going on the major version. So if it goes from version 1 to version 2, you would pay an upgrade fee. But if it goes from version 1 to version 1.5, you will get that for free. And to be fair, the price isn't excessive. I think it's 255 quid at the moment. But that's kind of agnostic. That's still would be cheaper if I had to pay £255 a year than if I had to pay for the full Adobe suite that I use. And I do use quite a lot of the Adobe apps. I use Illustrator quite a lot. I use Photoshop quite a lot. Premiere, obviously, I use daily. After Effects, I use pretty significantly as well. Lightroom, also use that. And another couple of the apps in there that you might not think you would use, but I actually do use. So Texture Paint, Scene, I use quite a lot for setting up 3D scenes, and then I export those and I can composite them in the background and all this other stuff. But anyway, a lot of what Adobe Suite can do in individual apps, DaVinci is starting to be able to do in Resolve. But significantly, a lot of the tools that are inside Resolve now are to the point where seemingly they're better than Premiere. And there's a few quality of life things in there, like the stability is one of them. The color grading tools have always been better. Lumetri that's in Premiere isn't the greatest. So why am I talking about this? Well, I suppose as I'm working on my physical space to get it to where I want and making those changes, the trial and error approach, I'm starting to think that this is probably what I need to do with the software as well. My hesitancy here is just the expediency of getting things out of the door. I am now with my hobby videos pretty much 3 months in front, so I could stop making videos for 3 months and I'd still be able to get my fortnightly release schedule. and I have got a number more that I could edit now and basically give myself 6 months leeway. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is have a body of videos that I can release and then make the videos that I wanted to slot in between those series, and that takes the pressure off and it'll allow me to more freely try new ideas without hopefully getting impacted too much by algorithmic shift. So where am I going with this in this vlog video then? Well, I suppose I'm talking myself into using DaVinci as my daily driver personally for a little while and seeing how I get on with it. I can use DaVinci Studio for free. It doesn't have some of the tools that I would want, but realistically, I'm not really using those in my hobby videos. So perhaps that's what I need to do, and yeah, just bite the bullet and switch over. Like I say, one of the things that has been putting me off is that I've got muscle memory now for Premiere, and I don't particularly want to have to relearn something. I'm starting to get familiar with the Tor box as my input controller as well. So yeah, there's a lot to think about, but it's probably going to be worth it, especially with the shifting landscape of costs around Adobe, and I don't know how long that's going to maintain its current status. Yeah, I guess that's where I'm going with it. Right, I'm going to leave it there for today. This has been an interesting one that's given me food for thought, I think, more than else. Sometimes it just helps to vocalize things like this, doesn't it? And get them out there until you see what you think. But yeah, that's making sense. I'll let you know how I get on in future videos, but until later, it's much cooler today as well, isn't it? So yeah, happy times. Right, better get back on. Lunch is over. I will catch you on the other side. I will see you later, my friends. Toodle pip. See ya.